one day. Better is one day. Better is one day. Better is one day. Better is one day. Thousands elsewhere. One day. Better is one day. Better is one day. Better is one day. Thousands elsewhere. One day. Better is one day. Better is one day. Better is one day. Thousands elsewhere. One day. Better is one day. Better is one day. Better is one day. Thousands elsewhere. One day. Better is one day in your courts. Better is one day in your house. Better is one day in your courts and thousands elsewhere. Better is one day in your courts. Better is one day in your house. Better is one day in your courts and thousands elsewhere. Better is one day in your courts. Better is one day in your house. Better is one day in your courts and thousands elsewhere. Better is one day in your courts. Better is one day in your house. Better is one day in your courts and thousands elsewhere.
Your program today is not exactly a program. So we have switched up a couple of things and switched up the order. What you just heard is a piece that's not at all on the program. It's just a piece called Better Is One Day. It's a piece that we taught in the oral tradition, and so they learned all of the different parts today without any score. So bravo to everyone for that. So the next piece on our program, I'll tell you as soon as I pull up my iPad, because I have the memory of a goldfish. There we go. The next piece on our program that we're going to do for you is a tune called Earth Song by a composer and conductor named Frank Ticelli. It has a really rich and wonderful text that I will read for you. What is unusual about this piece is that the composer wrote the text himself. So generally speaking, composers will set a poet's text or they will work with some sort of lyricist. So this is fairly unusual. And what he wanted to do was have a song that was going to talk about, not just about the earth and our connection to it, but our connection to music making. The poem reads as follows. Sing, be, live, see. This dark, stormy Next on the program is a piece by Jacob Neverod called Sisi Namoya, which translates into We Are One, which is We Are One in Swahili. And the whole piece is about unity, that we all laugh together, we all cry together, we all come together, and we can solve these big problems that the world has. This today will be sung by our tenors and basses. The next piece on the program is a gospel tune by a very well-known contemporary gospel artist. His name is Donald Lawrence. And this piece is called Jehovah's Sabbath. And it's a piece that just grows and builds and builds and builds and builds. And so today we've been talking about singing in different styles, creating different colors, different vowel sounds that make a piece really sing off the page in an authentic way. So please enjoy this piece by Donald Lawrence. on this today's program is a relatively new piece. It was premiered in 2001, so just last year. It's called Stardust. It's by a choral composer who is relatively new on the scene. Her name is Brittany Elizabeth Boykin. She teaches down in Georgia, Georgia Technical. Brilliant composer. In this piece here, she talks about a whole host of things that are happening in the world related to racial equity and racial justice. And she talks about the story. There's this language that's used in it. We don't know what the language actually is. We just know that it comes somewhere from West Africa. And so the story goes that we don't know this language because no one is left who speaks this language. And what ended up happening was these folks were able to run away, these formerly enslaved folks, and they were able to take control of a ship. And they were on their way crossing the Atlantic, but they believed in their religions over in Africa that when they were going over the water, that they would go and be met with their ancestors, and that they could fly over the water. And there are many, 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 many kind of mythical traditions and faith traditions that have like water sort of ancestry, or going down the river Styx, all these sorts of things like that. And so this is in that vein. But what happened with these folks is they stood on the edge of the boat, and they all ended up jumping off of the boat. And so it's this great tragedy, but the composer says it really isn't a tragedy. I mean, of course, any loss of life is a tragedy, but these folks were dying free. And so what the composer talks about is that to be able to live in a world, to live and dream without fear, that's ultimately what justice is in our world. So this is a really different piece. It is some really interesting sonorities, a lot of different styles. You hear some jazz, you hear some contemporary choral sounds. So really, really quite eclectic, even within this one composition. So this is V.E. Boykin's Stardust, which will be sung today by our soprano and alto choristers. The final piece in today's program is a piece called United in Purpose. United in Purpose is composed by a local Philadelphia-based composer by the name of Dr. Rollo Dilworth. He probably contributed 300 or more works to the canon. So it's just a really prolific amount of repertoire that he's written for choir. This piece, I love this one because it is setting a Maya Angelou text that is talking about us being united in our purpose to change the world, and that the onus is upon us all to work to improve the human condition. And so it's just a really wonderful text and a really wonderful